Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, I used to make these videos a long time ago where I would try to get a bond from scratch on a level 3 account, and I had a lot of fun making them and people really seemed to enjoy them, so I thought I'd make another one today. This is especially relevant and useful now because bonds are very expensive. This one here, which I'm going to redeem, is 5.5 mil or 5.7 mil, so they are very expensive. So when you're creating a new pay to play account, you use the bond to make it and you have nothing, these are some steps you can take to get it back in a relatively short amount of time. This is also going to be kind of a challenge video and money making guide, so there might be a few methods that realistically I should have just grinded out until I had the bond, but I want to add some variety to the video to make it more interesting. If you want to see me do a free to play version of this later, leave the video a like and let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and redeem the bond. We're gonna get 14 days of membership, but we're gonna make sure we get the bond's worth of money back within 1 day. Otherwise, I'm gonna get hungry and people are gonna wonder where I went. And there we go, we are now officially a members account. Okay, so just before we get started here, we can have a look at my stats. I have about 30 of these random accounts I made for a flipping series, so we're just gonna use this account. It has barely any stats, just 10 mining. I do like to be environmentally friendly, so I'm going to be recycling this account and recycling all my content as well. So the first thing you need to do on any account is get a bit of starting money. Now, what a lot of people are going to do is the Stronghold of Security, which is a pretty good option. However, because of the time of year, one really easy way to get some starting money is to just complete the holiday event. It takes about 4 minutes, and it currently is going to net me about 30,000 GP. Which is going to be probably just as quick as the Stronghold, but we're going to get actually more money from it. Now, some of these methods I'm doing right now may not work all the time, including the holiday event and a few other ones I'm going to do, but just keep in mind that there's always going to be something going on. There's always going to be other ways of making money. These are just some examples, but if the Christmas event is active, it's an excellent way to start off an account because you're going to get a really easy influx of money. Okay, so we're done the holiday event. It took about 4 minutes, not too bad at all, definitely quicker than the Stronghold of Security. Other options are just picking up ashes off the ground until you have maybe about 10 or 20k. Realistically, this step shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes, but there we go, we have a bunch of different items to work with here. Okay, so now we're gonna head back to the Grand Exchange and sell off all of the tradable items up here, and hopefully we'll get maybe around 30,000 GP. Now, the only thing really worth anything right now, I think, is the Christmas Cracker, which we will sell off. Perfect. So there is 37k, not bad. We'll also dump the rest of the Santa hats in here, which we actually, 17k from that too, not bad. That's actually a lot more than I thought. When I did this quest earlier, the party hats were only worth 1 GP, but we actually got, not bad, 20k from that as well. So we actually got 72k right off the bat for doing that Christmas quest. So now that I've gotten my first bit of money, we need to work on another money making method. And one that is surprisingly good right now is collecting red spider eggs. Red spider eggs are worth a lot. Like if we price check one, 465, that's crazy. And they're just on the ground, which means we can collect them fairly easily and sell them almost instantly. Now what we'll need for that is a looting bag as well as a few hit points levels because we're going to be going into the wilderness. So I think the easiest way to do this is going to be to complete Witch's House. So for that, we're going to buy a few different items. We have basic mage gear, and we're going to buy a few different magical casts, just so we can get to level 13 magic for Fire Strike. So that still leaves us with 67k, which we're just going to chuck in the bank for now. So I'm going to go level up my magic to 13, and then we're going to go complete the Witch's House quest, which should get us to maybe 25 hit points, which will allow us to tank the NPCs in the wilderness and start collecting the red spider eggs. And we just came to the wilderness to kill rats, and we got it on our second kill. Actually pretty lucky. Now, the reason I came to kill rats in the wilderness is because they do have about a 1 in 30-ish drop rate on the looting bag. Now, if you don't get it from rats, I would recommend going and killing the bandits, as I think they do have a higher drop rate for the looting bag. But regardless, we needed some magic training experience, and we might as well try to get them both at the same time. Now, it's pretty easy to do the Witch's House quest with just Earth Strike, although if you want to go up to Fire Strike to be a little safer. Now I went back to the Grand Exchange and we're going to buy a few items here. We're buying a Falador teleport, a Varrock teleport, a few more runes for Earth Strike and then Fire Strike, 2 pieces of cheese, and leather gloves. And in the rest of the inventory spaces, just bring wine because it's a very cheap and cost-effective healing method, and you'll need a bit of food because there is a bit of combat. So from here, break your Falador teleport, and then we're going to head to Taverley. Now, what's really convenient about starting Witch's House with Earth Strike is that by the time you finish it, you will have Fire Strike unlocked without ever having to do any extra training. So now we can just use Fire Strike to finish this boss off. Okay, so there we go. We can collect the ball and complete the quest. If you aren't quite sure how to do Witch's House, I will leave a link in the description for the wiki. And there we go. We completed Witch's House. There is 6.3k hit points experience, which will get us to level 25 hit points, which is perfect. That will allow us to tank a lot of the monsters in the wilderness, mainly the red spiders. Okay, so from here, we're going to go back to Varrock, and we need one more item to really make this efficient, and that is going to be the Amulet of Glory. Now, luckily, Amulets of Glory are very cheap right now. I believe they're only like 15k or something like that. Yeah, 12k. But if you don't have enough money, you can either just pick up some ashes off the ground, you could chop some regular trees and sell them, but we have plenty of money left over, so no problem there. And you also want to withdraw your looting bag. I'm also going to buy a few energy potions and maybe a stamina potion dose just to see how effective it is, because they are kind of expensive and we don't want to eat into our profits too much. And lastly, I would recommend bringing a bit of food because the monsters are aggressive and we may need to hop worlds a few times. Okay, so the benefit of the Glory is that we can go right to Edgeville, which is the closest bank to the red spider eggs. So from the bank, we're going to run south into the Edgeville dungeon. We're going to go down the ladder, north. So we're going to go through this gate here. If you haven't gotten your looting bag, I'd recommend trying to kill thugs because they have a pretty high drop rate of the looting bag. But if you have it, we're just going to run north past them to the red spider eggs. And there's quite a few on the ground. Make sure we have those turned on. Now, unfortunately, the red spiders are aggressive, but if we can find a place to lose aggro, we'll probably just hop worlds. That looks like it could be a bit challenging. I think if we're lucky, we can just run down here to this little passage here, and if there's no NPCs around, we'll just hop worlds. Doesn't look to be too big of a problem. No. Okay, so we're going to work on that, but anyway, let's go ahead and start collecting these red spider eggs, and we'll come back in a little bit. Okay, so we just finished up a full inventory. Now, one place that is kind of good for losing aggro is up here on the other side of the bones. It doesn't work all the time because spiders can still come from other angles. But if you get it right, often you can actually hop worlds here. So we got a full inventory, and now we're going to teleport back to Edgeville. So we can get a maximum of 55 spider eggs per run, which is currently worth 25k. Not bad for a entry-level moneymaker with no requirements. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for at least an hour, maybe 2 hours, just to get a bit of a cash stack started. Then I'm going to move on to a herblore method. Alright, so we finished an hour of collecting the red spider eggs, a really easy entry-level money-making method, and we were able to collect about 9 inventories. And it took us maybe like a couple minutes, over an hour. I think I could do the next hour a little bit quicker than that, as I got better at dodging the aggro. But there we go, we got 495 red spider eggs, and we already have 48k in the bank. Let's go ahead and sell these off. And we ended up getting 226k, which equates to maybe around 200k an hour because we did end up buying glories, as well as some energy potions. Now for the next method, I think I need closer to 400k, so I think I'll do another hour of red spider eggs, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so we'll sell off the glory and buy a new one. I'm going to buy a few more energy potions. I found these guys to be more cost effective, and I think we're still good on wine, so let's go ahead and do another hour of this, and then we'll move on to something else. Now, another pretty good spot to lose aggro is up here by the monkey bars. There is no one universal spot that's safe. Unfortunately, there's just crap everywhere, but pretty much every world there's usually a spot that is safe-ish, either down here, occasionally behind this rock, and more often than not, my favorite spot is up by the monkey bars now. Seems by the time that you've aggroed the spiders down here, if you run up here, generally another one won't come. And because of that, I think we're actually going to be able to complete an extra run this hour, which means we'll get closer to 550 or something like that. Also, I forgot to have my looting bag open for about half of this time, so definitely open your looting bag if you can. So that's going to be our second hour done. We'll head back to Edgeville and then to the Grand Exchange, sell it off, and then we're going to move on. Alright, we are back at the Grand Exchange, and we have 544 red spider eggs to sell off, which is a pretty good hour to be honest. We'll go instantly sell those as well, bringing us up to 519k, about not even 1/10 of the way there. That is pretty sad. So now I have enough money to work on something else, and one of the best ways of making money early is with Herblore, which means I need to go ahead and complete Druidic Ritual and get a few early game Herblore levels, but we don't need a very high level in Herblore. We're shooting for maybe 34 right now. I might go higher, but most likely I'm not going to bother. Mainly it's kind of a cost investment, so I don't really have much extra money to be spending. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the quest. We're going to buy all of the required items right on the Grand Exchange, and I'll be back in a minute. Just make sure you also buy a Varrock home teleport, or else you have to run all the way back, which is going to waste a lot of time. Once again, this is about a 5-minute quest. If it takes you longer than that, you're not doing something right. Hopefully that took me under 5 minutes. We have now unlocked the Herblore skill, and that's all we need from here. We're going to head back to the Grand Exchange. You're going to start at level 3. And for our first method, we are only going to need level 12 Herblore, although once again our goal is going to be around 34. Now at level 12 Herblore, we can make Theremin potions unfinished, which will net us about 350k an hour. To do it for a full hour, you'll need around 500k cash, which is kind of why we wanted to get a bit more money first. So I'll probably just make attack potions till level 12, which really won't cost very much money and should only take us a few minutes at most. So to get from level 3 to 12, it will only take you 55 attack potions and only cost me about 9,000 GP or 10,000 GP. So it's very cheap, not much of a cost investment there. And my math was off. But anyway, there we go. There is level 12 Herblore. We can now make unfinished Theremin potions. So I took out my entire cash stack, and what I'm going to do is price check a Theremin potion unfinished. And that's the price we can sell it at. And I'm going to price check just a cleaned Theremin. Please don't buy a grimy Theremin. That is just going to be a huge waste of time. So we can pretty much instantly buy Therimins for 158 and sell them for 273. For 1 hour, you'll be able to make about 3,400 potions. We won't quite have enough for that, so we're going to do 3k, and we'll also need 3,000 vials of water. It's not a big deal if they don't all buy it first. They will come through eventually, and you can just start making potions. So making Theremin potions is about 300 to 400k an hour. Pretty good, again, for the time investment. Making Toadflax potions at level 34 is actually closer to 700k an hour. The only drawback there is to do it for an hour, we'll need about 6 mil worth of cash, although we could do less and just slowly do it, which I think I may end up doing. But for making the potions, it's very simple. You want to withdraw X14 and then just have the quantity selected on X at the bottom here. Just double click twice. Also, another tip is make sure your F1 keys are set to exit closing the interface. That's going to save you a lot of time. And we're just going to start adding the Therimins to the potions. Simple as that. Let's do it for an hour and we'll calculate how much money we make from it and we'll see where we want to go from there. So we are back and actually ended up doing it for around 2 hours, a little bit less. We did 2 full sets of 3,000. We'll go ahead and collect the last one now, bringing us up to 1.1 mil. Not as much as I'd hoped. The first set here we did in 2 parts. And the second one we had enough just for the full set. Now I'm going to go ahead and check the margin on Toadflax right now, because if it's significantly higher, I'm going to go ahead and level up my Herblore, because I think it's going to be definitely worth it. Yeah, wow, look at that. So the margin is about 350 or something like that. Definitely going to be worth it. So in that case, I'm going to go ahead and get my Herblore to 34, which should only take me about 10 or 15 minutes. And if I do the right potions, it should only cost me around 100k, which will leave me with at least a mil left over. Still not a lot considering how expensive the potions are, but still going to be doable. So while I could do strength potions, they are almost 3 times more expensive than just doing anti-poisons. 500 might be a little excessive, but let's go ahead and start with that. So even though I was making the second worst potion in the game, we got to level 34 pretty quickly. I think only 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I'm still getting 70,000 XP an hour, which is very quick at these early levels. And there was level 34 Herblore. So from 12 to 34 took around 500 anti-poison potions. Let's just go ahead and sell off these anti-poisons first. I think it's probably better to decant them. Okay, so now this is going to be a little bit messy the way we have to do this, because we can only do about 430 at a time, which means I can only maybe do it for about 10 minutes, not even maybe at a time, but I'm going to be selling them off slowly as I go. So if the margin is 25.97 is what I could theoretically sell the unfinished potions for, minus 2,200 what I bought the Toadflax for. means we're getting right now about 350 to 400 GP in profit per Toadflax potion, multiplied by 3,000 means we're gonna make over $1 million an hour in theory, although it's gonna be slowed down a bit by our restriction in money. But anyway, let's just get to it. I'll sell them as I go, and I'll let you know how it goes. Toadflax is actually ridiculously profitable right now. The only drawback is it's taken me a long time, or at least longer, to do it just because of how little money I have. We've managed to do about 1,500, I think maybe closer to 1,600 in about 45 minutes, which is really slow, but still we made so much money regardless. Sorry, my math is really bad. We've done closer to 2,000 still. However, we have about 1.9 mil in the GE right now, which once we collect brings us up to close to 2 mil. And there's really just no reason for me to not do this anymore. Just gonna double check the margin while we're here. Okay, that's fallen a little bit. However, the price of Toadflax has also fallen, so I think overall this is still very, very good. That's like 330-ish. Still pretty close to 300, so I'm gonna continue doing it. No reason not to. Maybe we can get up to maybe 3 mil and we could try something else. But at this point, we're kind of already pretty far down the herblore rabbit hole, one could say. It would be a little bit wasteful time-wise to totally try something else, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so at this point, we can afford almost 1,000, which is pretty nice because at that point, at least we can do it for nearly 20 minutes. Alright, it turns out I accidentally did a flip. I swear I didn't mean to. In my head, for some reason, I thought that willow saplings could be made at level 3 or without any farming levels, but I forgot that's not the case. So we can't actually turn these into saplings, so I'm actually just going to try to sell them back for a much higher price because they normally go for closer to 2,900, so we're just going to chuck them in here. Worst case scenario, we didn't really lose much time, put them in for 2,800. But the main update here is that we ended up doing 900 Toadflax potions times 4, which is about 3,600, which took us a bit over an hour, but these things were selling very quickly and having more money to work with really sped things up. So once we claim all of this, we're at 2.5k plus, if this ever sells, we'll be at over 3 mil. Okay, so I've done Toadflax potions for a while, and realistically, I could continue to do those all the way to a bond, 5.2 mil or whatever it's at now. However, for the sake of variety, I'm going to be moving on to another method, even if it may be slightly worse. Now, right now, green dragonhide is actually very profitable to tan. Normally it's 400 or 500k an hour, but right now it looks like it's closer to 500 or 600k, which is pretty comparable to what we're doing with the unfinished potions. Right now, we still have over a 200 GP margin, which is quite good. So we're going to go ahead and buy as many of the dragonhides as we can, which is going to be about 1,800. We need a bit of money. Okay, maybe a little less. You can do about 2,500 to 3,000 an hour. So I'm going to do 1,400 right now and kind of split the difference. Oh, look at that. Our willow seeds actually already sold over half. That was actually a very good flip, totally by accident. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and do 1,400, which would take about half an hour. Then we'll come back and sell the hides pretty much instantly. Do it again, and we'll probably check back in about an hour. Now, if you've never done this before, it's very easy. All you really need is cash and dragonhide, and we teleported to the Alcarid Bank. We're simply going to run up here to the tannery and back. Very, very simple. If you are not using stamina potions, it's going to be a lot slower, but regardless, just run up here, tan the hides, run back. Super simple. Currently, we're getting about 600k an hour, and normally higher level dragonhides are more profitable, but for today though, green dragonhides are both the cheapest and the most profitable. Okay, so we finished up all of the green dragonhide, all 2,800. We did have to do it in 2 different batches, but there it is. 1,400 and 1,400 over here with the dragonhide. And all of our willow seeds have sold off as well. That was actually rather quick. Bringing us up to 3.6 mil. We're very close-ish. We're getting close, I should say. Now, I've been checking a few things while I was waiting here, and a few things kind of jumped out at me. First up here, I kind of want to try tooth half and loop half key combinations. And right now, there's actually a 1k margin in combining these. Now, this isn't really going to be worth it if this takes a long time to buy. I'm not really sure what the quantity volume is on this right now, so if it takes too long, I'll probably just have to go do something else while I wait. Okay, we're going to do 150 instead. That way we can do a full hour of Terramins while we wait for the Lupin Tooth Halves to come through, which should net us another 300k. Okay, so we're going to do 3,000 Terramins while we wait here, and I'll be back in another hour when this is all done. Now, crystal keys are made out of 2 key halves, a tooth half and a loop half, And purchasing the 2 actual pieces can be cheaper than the crystal key itself, and that is this case right now. We're getting a 1000 GP profit per tooth that we combine. Once again, the simplest way to do this is to withdraw 14 of each. One tip I'd give you is to bring a loop half or whatever key is there to the bottom right, so that there's 2 different key halves at the bottom right. And here you can actually spam click them together. It's going to save you a lot of clicking, and you can do them actually rather quickly. So we just did a full inventory in just about 5 seconds. And each inventory will give me about 14K in profit, which is pretty good considering how quickly I can combine them normally. So I only managed to do about 300 of the crystal keys. However, I did do about 3,000 Theremin potion combinations, and it only took me about an hour and 10 minutes more or less. So in the Grand Exchange, we have about 3 million crystal keys and about 939K in Theremin potions, bringing us up to 4.3 mil, which by any rights should be able to afford a bond, but it doesn't. 5.3 mil, that sucks. Okay, so I've been doing this for about 10 hours now, and I think I'm going to finish it off with the Toadflax potion, as we should be able to get about 700K an hour here, which should be almost enough. I think that we are done. I ended up doing about 5,700 of the Toadflax potions unfinished, which took me about an hour and a half. We did 1900, then 1900, and then 1900, making about 400K each time, which has brought us up to about 1 mil in the inventory and 4.5 mil in the GE. So when we collect it, we're up to 5.6 mil, which I think should be more than enough. And after long last, we can go ahead and try to buy a bond. Let's try buying it for 5,400. Nope, can't get it for 5,400. My god. All right, well, let's put all our money in. If it doesn't buy right away, I guess we're waiting a bit longer. 5653 in the GE, and no luck. Okay, I guess we're gonna wait a bit, and hopefully it'll come through in the next few minutes. That didn't take very long, and we can stop the timer at 3 hours 12 minutes remaining, which means this process took about 12 hours to complete. That is insane that it takes that long on a pay-to-play account. A year ago or 2 years ago, I did that on a free-to-play account, and it took about that amount of time. So I really feel for anyone who's actually trying to earn a bond from scratch, but hopefully this video will have helped out. 5.6 mil is what we bought the bond for. Very expensive, leaving us with 970 GP left over. So that is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this type of video, definitely go ahead and leave the video a like. I always appreciate it. If you want to see a free-to-play one, let me know. Although at this rate, it's probably going to be about 24 hours. Who knows? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.